Hi, it's Ileana. So today I am going to be looking at my astrocartography chart exploring past lives in Egypt and Atlantis. So I have several different of the planetary converging lines going through the city of Alexandria in Egypt. Some of the particular planetary influences and lines are Pluto, and that is about drama, cycles, and transformations. Need to face uncomfortable truths and face repressed emotions and memories, transformational growth for change to be who you are meant to be. So basically, I've known that I've had lifetimes in Egypt, several of them, particularly a priest slash architect who had built the Giza Plateau pyramids and the Sphinx, and underneath that he had built the Egyptian Hall of Records. So that has always been something I've been aware of, and I've explored some of that, but also there's Atlantean lifetimes where I'm seeing amber libraries. Like inside the libraries, there's these columns of amber crystal towers or columns in the libraries. I think that was activated even further by exploring Alexandria and Egypt with this cartography. It's very powerful information. I also have the sun as a planetary influence going right through Alexandria and Egypt. The sun is connected to a place attuned to one's core personality, where to live and thrive, feeling like yourself, being in the right place, experiencing success and influencing others in positive ways, as well experiencing a massive boost in self-confidence, good for generally living your best life. So I think these planetary alignments are helping me to remember these past lives in Egypt, Atlantis, and connecting to Alexandria. I've always felt the connection to the Library of Alexandria. I'm not sure if this library where the amber crystals are, if that's the Library of Alexandria, or I feel that's more connected to Atlantis, where they had these amber libraries and rooms, but it could be connected to Alexandria as well. There's also the planet Jupiter that is an influence running kind of a little bit further out from Egypt, but close to it. Close to Alexandria, Jupiter is responsible for experiencing luck, abundance, especially material possessions, having success in love and career. Now, I'm remembering a lot of things to do with these amber libraries and these amber rooms, like physical places that I've been to. I know of the amber room that had been in Russia at one point. Then it was taken apart by the German soldiers and it was looted. But I've always felt a connection to that amber room. Like, I hadn't been in the amber room, but I know what it looks like even more than that. And this is what I feel is the connection in Atlantis, these amber libraries and these amber rooms, like I was physically there in these places, so I can even show what that looks like. So looking at Egypt and Alexandria and these planetary convergences has really awakened those past lives that I've been seeing further into. So the planetary influences of the Sun, Jupiter, and Pluto running in lines through Alexandria and Egypt are positive for helping in remembering a past life where El-Kami had been a priest and architect who had built the Egyptian Hall of Records under the Sphinx with the various golden artifacts that he placed there for safekeeping in the Giza Plateau pyramids. The priest architect's name was Calypso, and he had placed many of the Egyptian Hall of Records golden artifacts in specialized chambers underneath the pyramids. This was done to safeguard the golden artifacts from being discovered by the wrong factions on Earth that had sought to use the artifacts to harness energetic powers and frequencies for things that weren't of the highest good in nature. The second past life was being in an amber library in several amber rooms where amber crystals were creating a positive living space for the person. This is a lifetime that had been lived during the time of Atlantis, from what I understand about that and what's coming in from those experiences. So these are the images of the Egyptian Hall of Records with the golden artifacts that Calypso had placed for safekeeping underneath the Giza Plateau pyramids and the Sphinx in various chambers. So everything was made from gold, like pure 100% gold, and it has a lot of energy and frequency. And there's a purpose to these artifacts. The Egyptian Hall of Records golden artifacts with the histories of Atlantis, Egypt, and ancient Earth are inscribed into golden tablets, discs, and wall carvings. So there is histories of Atlantis, Egypt, and ancient Earth that is basically imbued as an energy frequency into these artifacts, and also what's written in Egyptian, and partially like the Atlantean language. It's a mixture of Egyptian and Atlantean languages. These different inscriptions on the wall, the hieroglyphics, the discs, everything is made of gold, and gold is a conductor for storing information and energy frequencies. So these artifacts have histories of Atlantis, Egypt, and ancient Earth, and probably other histories of this planet and the beings who were here. It's an extensive golden artifacts that is stored in these hidden chambers. Extensive collection. I mean, there's plaques, there's discs, there's carvings, etchings in the walls. Everything is made out of gold, and it has information in it. And probably, well, since gold is a natural resource, it is very valuable beyond that information, just as physical artifacts. Very valuable. Just beautiful, intricate histories of Egypt, Atlantis, and other places on Earth. And what people looked like. There's also statues of male and female people who lived in Egypt, pharaohs, and I think also like Syrians and Lyrans who had come to Egypt. And those are the ET influences. I think those histories are there in these artifacts and the depictions of the artifacts themselves. Quite extensive. I mean, I was remembering seeing different chambers with different statues, carvings, impressions. Just so much information and history there. And just very beautiful. And these are halls of records. Imagine like an archive, huge, huge archive of Earth's history here. That's what it looks like from my memories. And this is what I depicted in the images. And these are the Amber libraries. Like I remember visiting several libraries, studying alchemical compounds, studying alchemical metaphysical components in these libraries, because these libraries have these beautiful amber crystal columns and this energy coming off of it for expanding your mind and knowledge. But there's also books, like metaphysical, esoteric, scientific books on all kinds of knowledge that was in these libraries in Atlantis. And just studying all this information, creating alchemical compounds, metaphysical energetic frequency, studying that stuff. Because I remember I was a geneticist in Atlantis. I was a crystal healer and a historian as well. So I would go into these amber libraries with amber crystals in Atlantis, and it feels similar to the Library of Alexandria. Energetically, it feels similar to me. They might be interconnected. Because what was built in Atlantis was later replicated in Egypt and other places all over the world. So these libraries were just very beautiful, and they had amber crystals everywhere, and it amplified the energy of these places. It also amplified the mind to be more alert, to be more smarter, to be able to process information quicker while being in these libraries. That's just what it feels like to me. As the energy of what I get that these places were created for. And beautiful libraries, just so much amber crystals here. And amber amplifies intuition, amber amplifies cognition, amber gives more energy. Amber is very healing. It is a very interesting type of a crystal that comes from sap, actually from specific trees, and then it becomes solidified and it acts like a crystal. Very interesting. So they were using amber in Atlantis, but I don't think it was from resin of trees. Back then it was grown. It was grown energetically. Like you could grow different crystals and create different crystals energetically into physicality with energy, imbuing the energy of the crystals into physical solid matter. And that's how they grew them, with thought consciousness and energetic frequency. And that was the result of all these beautiful amber libraries and amber rooms in Atlantis back then. Yeah, so this is more of the amber libraries. It was on the ceilings, on the walls, the floors, just so beautiful. And these are the amber rooms where people could go to healing temples and healing places to stay in and visit for healing and soul exploration, exploring who you are as a soul, for deeper soul learning and understanding of yourself and the universe. These beautiful amber rooms with amber crystals of all types. Just amazing. So it's amber rooms in Atlantean temples and healing spaces during the time of Atlantis. Just amazing places where there was a lot of amber crystals in different forms and shapes in these rooms and temples. And the energy was very healing from all of this stuff. Just beautiful healing energy to help the soul be recalibrated, to be regenerated, to give a lot of energy, to feel good, re-energize the person, mind, body, and soul. That's what these crystal rooms would give, amber crystal rooms. They would re-energize the soul to give you more energy, frequency, connection to yourself and the universe and the earth. Yeah, so just a lot of what the amber crystals would do were regenerate things in the body for healing, for the mind, the body, and the soul, give you more energy, feeling more youthful, revitalized, sleeping well, feeling better. That's what these amber rooms were designed to do when you go into these healing temples. And it looks very, very interesting, like old world furniture and stuff. Even some of the furniture was made from amber. So just they knew how to incorporate crystals into their physical living environments and healing spaces. So the amber was everywhere. Furniture, walls, artifacts. It was encoded in everything back then in these places. Just even in the bedrooms where people would rest and sleep. And this is like, the amber is in the floor and the ceiling. it feels like the Russian amber room sort of looks similar, because I know the amber room that was Russian, it really looked similar to this. And I remember having a deep connection to that. So I think this is more like the Russian amber room, because the amber is in the floor, the amber is in the ceilings, the walls. So more than just in displays, and just overall, even back in Atlantis, they had ways of creating things energetically into physicality to make physical environments feel and look like anything that they wanted for healing and physicality. So this is kind of like, just reminds me of the Russian amber room that had been dismantled by the German soldiers. But this just feels like it existed in Atlantis at some point, and just beautiful frequencies of these places with amber crystals embedded into everything as part of these beautiful healing and magical spaces. And I had done kind of like expanded version of this, but more in a meditative video for meditation, and just looking at the images in larger format with what the connection to Egypt is and Atlantis. More images was included in that meditation. But I wanted to sort of go over what inspired me to create these images, remembering these lifetimes from Egypt and Atlantis, and just the power of healing and healing crystals, amber especially. I feel very connected to amber libraries, amber rooms, and the Egyptian Hall of Records with the golden artifacts. I feel connected to gold as well. It has pure healing properties, re-energizing the mind, body, and the soul. Gold is very powerful as well. So this is where those past lives come from. And the astrocartography activated more knowing of these past lifetimes to be able to actually see what these places looked like in so much detail, and be able to show this, what it looked like, how it was. The more of the physical experience, I guess. So thank you so much.